It's module 3, lesson 1. We're talking about how to choose the right real estate. We're talking about leasing versus buying. And I think this is huge right here because it's super important to see where you kind of land on this one. So let's talk about why is picking the right location such a big deal first.
Yeah, because it all has to do with how quickly you can ramp up, right? If you pick the golden child when it comes to locations, you have the ability to see more patients, be in front of more patients, and therefore grow quicker.
So let's say you buy, you get a bad location. You're in like a seedy part of town. How can that actually hurt growth?
Dude, it's tough, right? Because it's not like you can just be in a food truck and drive away and be somewhere else. Like you've either put money into it or you've invested some type of something into the build out, right? So it's hard for dentists and orthodontists to move. So if you pick a bad location, that may hinder your growth in general just because the patient population may be dying or leaving the area. It may stop your signage from being seen. Your rent may be just too high to make it make sense. There's so many variables that go in there that can negatively affect you if you get a bad one.
So now let's jump into buying a property. What are the best parts of owning the building?
Oh my gosh, equity, right? You get equity. Not only you're paying down the loan, and that's going directly to the principal, it's just a great investment, right? You're getting equity. You're getting if you have other people in the actual unit with you, you could be getting rent, right? There's some cons to it too, but for the most part, if you can buy, I love the idea of buying the building.
So let's jump into the cons. What are the cons of buying a property?
That you are responsible for all the stuff, right? So unless you have other tenants that may help you pay some of the common maintenance fees and things like that, you're responsible for everything, right? So that means that if the air conditioner goes out, guess what? You have to fix that. If you have a leak, guess what? You have to fix that. So you don't have a landlord that you can complain to fix these things. But I do truly believe that the pros outweigh the cons, but it comes down to your financial situation and it comes down to your risk tolerance.
Yeah, because with buying, like when you get ready to sell, not only do you have your practice, but you have a actual location, a building that you own. And even if you didn't sell the practice, you still have that location, which is going to be an asset for you very long term.
Yep, it's like you have two separate assets at that point. The cool thing is you get to develop two assets as one, and you get to take advantage of the two assets as one whenever it's your business, right? And your business and your building. But then as you go to sell it, just to your point, you have now two different assets.
Yeah, and you can choose to, I'm just selling the practice, and you got to find a new location, and then you could sell you could do a lot of different ways.
That's
but
right.
it's a great way. Let's talk about leasing though. What are the pros of leasing a property?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest pros is the maintenance stuff, right? So it's stuff that happens outside the building, you're not necessarily responsible for. If sometimes the landlord is responsible for the air conditioner HVAC units, right? So if they are, then great. If that goes out, you just call them, hey, this is out. If there's any type of maintenance issue, I feel like those things are simple, right? It's also a lot cheaper entry, right? You don't have to have this huge lump sum to get in. On the other hand, some of the cons is if you make improvements to it, then that's improvement. You're improving someone else's space, right? So that's a kind of a con. And then sometimes you have to pay, common area maintenance, which is CAM. Then you have to pay the taxes, triple net, that type of stuff, which that kind of stinks, but it's part of it.
So let's talk about some tips that people can use. What are some things that people should look out when they're checking on neighborhoods to either buy or lease?
Yeah, I think you want to look for growth, right? You want to see if that area is growing or if it's dying. Typically, how you notice that is, are there new commercial spaces happening around it? Like whether it's restaurants, whether it's grocery stores. I like the Publix model, right? The Publix model, because Publix does not go to a place that's dying. It doesn't make sense, right? And so you can look at it from that perspective. But then also, if you really want a secret, you'll call around to the councilmen or women and you'll say, hey, are they planning any new schools? Are they going to open up any new schools? They only open up schools in places that are growing.
Yep.
They're not ever going to put a school that's in a place that's dying. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, they'll close them.
They'll close them. They'll close a school, right? And you can ask that too. Are any of these schools planning on closing anytime soon? There's a property that I was looking at, and I thought it was the greatest property in the world. It's right across the street from an elementary school and a middle school. Thought it was great. And I called the councilman, and he said that school was planning on closing.
Wow.
They were reconciling. So I was going to put all of my eggs in this basket because it was right across the street from the school. I thought it was a perfect location. But that school was going away. It was, by the time that my build out would have been done, that school would have been gone.
Man.
Think about how disastrous that would have been.
Yeah,
right?
that would have, you've been up the creek with that one.
Exactly. And honestly, that was 90% of the reason I was going to that particular location.
So let's talk about how can a real estate agent, the right kind of real estate agent, actually help you with getting a property?
You're paying them for their knowledge, right? And I think that you're paying them for their knowledge and expertise. And so they can weed out a lot of the stuff that's not going to be a good fit, especially if they've had other orthodontic practices or dental practices or medical practices. They understand the needs from a patient parking, the road frontage signs, all those type of things. They know that inherently. So you don't even have to think about those things. They also can help you with lease negotiations. If you're purchasing the property, they can help you with those type of negotiations as well. I do think that there's a lot of value in that. When I opened my practice, I actually didn't think that there was that much value in it. Now knowing what I know, there's so much value in it if you get the right person that's experienced and that will fight for you.
Yeah, we had an interview with Carr, and they were talking about they helped one practice save upwards of a few $100,000 on their property and everything, and even helped them where the landlord was paying part of the build out.
Yeah, tenant improvement dollars, very important. Those are things that you negotiate, right? And so if you have an experienced negotiator, they can do those things for you. And I tell you another thing that I find that's very helpful is if they can guide you through the process to make it quicker, because you don't think that you need quickness, but once you sign the lease, stuff starts then.
Yep.
So you want to get your build out done quick, right? And so they will help with those things. But again, you have to find the right one. I think Carr is actually really good. I would use them. I think that they're very good at what they do. They know how to weed through some of the stuff, but definitely something that you need.
Yeah, I think, when you really get down to it in any of these areas, if it's hip, if it's somebody else, whatever, when you have someone that is an expert in their field, they know how to get you from point A to point B faster than you would by yourself. And knowing that as an orthodontist, be like, hey, I'm really good at straightening teeth. Right. They're really good at X. And knowing that, I think you're setting yourself for way more success, because I've met a lot of orthodontists where they're like, yeah, I did my own marketing for a while, and it was like I spent, nights, weekends trying to figure stuff out, and it's like the same thing with real estate. You've got people that are experts, so use them.
Yep.
So there's this lesson. Check out the next one.